This was the moment everyone was talking about. Forget the stats, forget the final score for a second. This single interaction right here is the whole story. You have a fired up Caitlin Clark who looks like she just had enough of being grabbed and pushed all game. She turns towards Paige Bueckers and let out a sharp clap that has the internet buzzing. It's a moment that seems colder than ice, a gesture that says more than words ever could. It looks like she's done playing nice. But to really get why this happened, why we saw this raw frustration, we have to look at the war she was fighting all night long within this game. And let's be real, there's a huge conversation happening about WNBA officiating, and Caitlin Clark is right in the middle of it. It's not just about one or two missed calls, it's a pattern of intense physical play that many fans and analysts feel is being ignored by the people supposed to control the game. It's gotten so obvious that announcers have been calling it out live on air during the game against the Dallas Wings, which we'll get to in a minute, and I'll show you the clip. And you could hear the broadcast team pointing out the sheer amount of contact Clark was facing just to get open. And this wasn't the first time. We've seen it all season long so far. She's denied clean catches, face guarded off the ball, and bumped on every single screen. The league's biggest star is getting knocked around, and a lot of people are asking why the whistles aren't blowing. And it's gotten to a point where her own coaches, Stephanie White, has spoken out about the physicality her team has to deal with. And it's a feeling shared around the league. Kelsey Plum has talked about her frustration with getting scratched up while other players get calls for less. Clark's teammates are clearly fed up too. And you can see players like Sophia Cunningham stepping up, playing a more physical role, and letting opponents know that if the refs won't protect her, their star, she will, or they will as a team, the Indiana Fever. And this kind of environment where players feel like the rules aren't being enforced just creates more tension and turns basketball into something closer to a street fight. And this is the battle Caitlin Clark is facing every single night. And in her first pro game against her old rival, Paige Bueckers, the battle hit a boiling point. The stage was set for a huge matchup, Caitlin Clark versus Paige Bueckers, for the very first time in the WNBA. And this was the game every basketball fan had circled on their calendar, bringing back a rivalry that was a must-see TV in college. From the jump, you could feel the intensity. Less than 2 minutes in, Clark picked off a pass from Bueckers, snagged the steal, and took it all the way up for an easy layup. Bueckers didn't wait too long to answer, hitting a deep 29-foot three right back at her. The fight was on. But as the game went on, it was the same old story for Caitlin Clark. The Dallas Wings defense had a clear strategy: be as physical as humanly possible and make the refs prove they'll do something about it. Time and time again, Clark was met with a level of contact that felt like it went way beyond just tough defense, if you know what I mean. She was held and grabbed as she tried to get open, with defenders living in her jersey and slowing her down on every cut. You can imagine how frustrating that is. Imagine fighting through that kind of contact just to touch the ball, knowing that no matter how hard you get hit, the whistle probably isn't coming. The would That would test anyone's patience, put it like that. While Buckers had a solid night scoring 21 points, right? We go down 21 points. Clark had a grind for every one of her 14 points and her season high 13 assists. Her performance showed just how tough she is playing through contact all game, but anyone can only take so much. So there are only so many times you can get grabbed and held before you boil over. As the game went on, you could see the frustration building on Clark's face, the looks towards the refs, the shrugs of disbelief. A storm was brewing and it was about to break. And then it happened. It wasn't a dirty play or a screaming match with a ref. It was something quieter and maybe because of that, even more powerful. After another physical play with the Fever, holding a commanding lead, Clark seemed to have finally hit her limit. She turned into the direction of Paige Bueckers and let out a single sharp clap. So, what was that about? It definitely wasn't a celebratory clap for her team. It looked like a pure release of frustration, at least to me. And the eye contact, the timing of it, it all felt pointed. It seemed to say, I see what's happening out here, and I'm over it. That one clap felt like it contained the missed calls, all the uncalled grabs, and all the physical shots she absorbed, not just in one game, or not just in this game, but all season. And in that moment, she sent a message that was way louder than complaining to an official. She wasn't just clapping at Paige. She was seemingly clapping back at the whole strategy of trying to beat her by beating her up. It was a moment of defiance, we can call it. She was letting Buckers, the Wings, and the whole league know the days of playing nice were over. And while the relationship off the court has always been respectful, on the court, they're competitors. And in that moment, Clark made it clear that when the game is being played that way, there are no friends. She had just led her team to a blowout 102 to 83 win. As you guys can see, victory, putting up 14 points, 13 assists, and 5 steals. The clap was just the explanation point on a night that was all about toughness. It was Caitlin Clark telling Paige Bueckers and everyone else watching that she's here and she's not going to be pushed around. So, what do you think of the clap? Was it just a heat of the moment thing, or was Clark sending a message? Let me know what you think down in the comments. And if you're getting tired of seeing the refs let this much physicality slide with Clark, do me a favor and hit that like button. While the clap at Paige Bueckers went viral, it's important that this part of a much bigger conversation, the officiating has become a hot button issue for the entire WNBA. And it's happening right where more people are watching more than ever before. So the real problem is the lack of consistency. One night a small touch is a foul, the next a player can get shoved to the ground with no whistle. It's maddening for players, coaches, and fans. And as Fever coach Stephanie White has said, when officials don't get control of a game, things can get out of hand because you're dealing with the most competitive woman in the world. And Caitlin Clark's clapback was a symptom of this bigger issue. It seemed to be the result of a player hitting her breaking point after feeling unprotected by the officials. It's a wake-up call for the WNBA. The league is hotter than it's ever been, mostly thanks to Clark, but to keep the momentum, it has a duty to make sure the game is officiated fairly. That doesn't mean giving stars special treatment, just calling the fouls that are in the rule book. Until that happens, we're going to see more frustration and more moments where players feel like they have to take matters into their own hands. And now I want to show you guys the clip of the reporters basically, and I had to mute the audio due to copyright purposes, but the reporters in this video, you could go check it out. As you see all the grabs, all the grabbing on her jersey and all of that, the reporters called this out as she's grabbing, number 11, just all over her, like no breathing room whatsoever. It's just wow. The hand checking, the arm grabbing, the jersey grabbing, you name it. And then just look at it. Clear as day, man. All of these hand grabbing and stuff is wild. So then, and this is just an example of what she goes through, right? Obviously, I know that's the Atlanta Dream jersey, but it raises the question, right? That is this the WNBA or the NFL, right? And then this is the savage photo of Caitlin Clark clapping at Paige Bueckers, right? That goes viral after the Fevers win. And it reads in the article, it says, Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers squared off for the first time in WNBA careers on Sunday, with the Indiana Fever taking care of business at home with the win. I told you guys all that. And it says, the two stars are the two stars are the last two number one overall picks in their respective WNBA drafts and are expected to be rivals for many years to come. One photo from this showdown went viral as it looked like Clark was clapping in the direction of Bueckers, who had a priceless look on her face. Bueckers, who had an awkward exchange with a reporter after the game over a question about Clark's defense, finished with a team-high 21 points. The next matchup between the two teams is August 1st in Dallas. Get your popcorn ready for that one. So I want to wrap things up, family, by basically saying Caitlin Clark's clap in the direction of Paige Bueckers was more than a just quick flash of anger. It felt like a statement. It was a result of weeks of being grabbed, held, and fouled without hearing a whistle. And in that one moment, That viral moment that went viral, she sent a message to the rest of the WNBA. She will not be intimidated. She will fight through the contact, lead her team to a win, and let you know when she's had enough. The whole incident shines a bright light on a major issue the WNBA has to deal with. The league can't let its biggest stars get constantly hammered with no cause. It's not good for the game, and it's frustrating for the millions of new fans tuning in. So Clark's reaction was a direct result of the officials not doing their job. And the real question now is whether the moment will finally push the league to take a hard look at its officiating and make a change, because if they don't, Caitlin Clark has made it pretty clear she's ready to handle it herself. Let me know what you guys think about this video. Spread that peace, love, and positivity. On that note, family, I'm out.